Now, what do you mean by a circular economy? Now, as Doctor also pointed out, circular economy to me means how do you reduce usage of limited resources? How do you reuse? How do you recycle? How do you maybe repair and also regenerate? Limited resources that you use in your production of goods and services operation so that you minimize the impact on your ecosystem or on our ecosystem. Now, to create a circular economy, we need to understand that we need to look at this whole ecosystem. Now, supply chain professionals produced by your institute are not the only professionals talking about this. There are so many other professionals or so many other, I would say, people in different professions or different disciplines talking about this. One is the Lean Management Institute. It's also talking about the same thing in different words. Their objective is to achieve zero waste. Then TPM practitioners, total productive maintenance practitioners. They also talk about reducing waste, zero defects, and zero breakdowns. What does that mean? We are all talking about making the maximum use of the limited resources available for our operations. Now, in doing that, supply chain professionals are a little special to me because they go a step beyond the traditional way of looking at using limited resources. I have seen in the organizations I manage also, the supply chain professionals, they add a lot of value to our suppliers. They visit them, they talk to them, they try to understand what their operations are, whether we can make a contribution to fine-tune these operations, refine these operations, introduce good practices, good methods, good processes, so that they become efficient, so that we can rely on them. We can rely on them for what? To produce or supply us a good product or a service at a reasonable price. So that is what we do. And that is what your professionals do. So I admire them. Remarkable. Laudable. Because finally, we should not, in order to make our organization successful, we need to make other organizations that are working with us also successful. Otherwise, we become a selfish organization. So we need to make a contribution to that process. But in doing so, what we do is, we always try to look at what I call the commercial goods and services, the supply chain of commercial goods and services available to private enterprise. Commercially available or commercial goods and services, to me, mean the raw materials you use in our operations, manufacturing processes, then other services we bring from outside, maybe capital goods, intermediary goods, maybe spare parts and things like that, or even stationery and other ancillary products. We try to manage these processes. We try to manage the supply chain. But are we happy only doing just that? We are not happy. If we are happy, I don't think we will have to talk about this subject. We are not happy. Because by just managing the managerial goods and services or commercial goods and services alone, we can't make our organization successful. Now, I think in the last central bank annual report, I saw over the last 2 years, I suppose, as I remember, 22,000 organizations that contributed to the Employees' Provident Fund had closed. What does that mean? maybe these 22,000 organizations included organizations that had excelled in supply chain management. They must have employed professionals produced by your institute. But still, those organizations have closed. When the electricity tariff was increased once, so many companies closed. Now we have the second round. Another so many companies will close. So we need to ask a very critical question. That question is, by focusing on the supply chain of commercial goods and services or managerial goods and services, can we make our organization successful? We can't. We can't. Now, why is that? Because when we manage this supply chain of commercially available goods and services or commercial goods and services, we take a very transactional approach. Transactional approach. We pay for what we get. What do we get out of this? We improve the operations of someone. What do we get out of that? But I think we need to move from that transactional approach to transformational approach. We need to transform the entire ecosystem. We have to make a contribution to transform the entire ecosystem to make it sustainable. Otherwise, we are not sustainable. That is why, however much we try to manage the supply chain in our organization, the companies are closing. And your institute produces supply chain professionals. When they graduate as supply chain professionals, this ecosystem cannot absorb them. They can't absorb because the economy doesn't have space. The economy is not sustainable to absorb these graduates. So they have to migrate to a different economy that is more sustainable, that has more space for these professionals you are producing. So what is the missing link? The missing link is, although we focus on these commercial goods and services, we don't focus on societal goods and services. What do you mean by societal goods and services? Electricity, water, ports and aviation, skills and competencies, supply of skills and competencies through our education system, skilled labor, and also, don't forget, there are two other main things we need to focus on, about which we don't have any conversation. One is supply of foreign exchange. Is that part of your supply chain? Do you rely on foreign exchange inflows for you to carry on your operations? Yes, we do. I do. Foreign exchange supply is a major item in my supply chain. Then how about money supply? Are you talking about money supply as part of supply chain? We are not. Now say, for example, when we have electricity as a supply, electricity board as a supplier, if they are increasing their electricity tariff, like we visit other suppliers and asking them, okay, what is wrong with your operation? How can we make a contribution to refine your operation, improve your operation? Are we doing the same thing when the electricity board increases tariff? We are not. There is no conversation. There is no conversation. So we need to take that conversation to the society. Otherwise, when the electricity tariff goes up, your member companies close down. So that means we have not made that right contribution to manage the supply chain of societal goods and services. How about foreign exchange? We need foreign exchange to sustain our operations. Now what happens is, now I saw in the papers recently, a few months ago, Sunday Times reported, money is stacked away overseas amounts to $53.9 billion. So you cut it by half as exaggeration. 25 billion stacked away. That is equal to 50% of our foreign debt. Stacked away. So that means the supply chain of that foreign exchange flow has broken somewhere. Supply chain has broken. That is why the money is not flowing. So we need to ask why. Why that supply chain has broken? How we can repair it? What can we contribute towards repairing that supply chain? And when the foreign exchange inflow belongs to the society, whether it is coming at the right price, because that is also part of supply chain management. There is no conversation. We need to make sure the foreign exchange inflow that comes to our country is coming at the right price. That means we have not made that contribution to make sure that supply chain works efficiently so that our organizations can grow. Now, as a result of this, what is happening here is some of our companies are outgrowing the economy. When the companies outgrow the economy and the economy cannot support those companies, the companies have to go overseas to survive. And when companies go overseas, once again we come back to the situation where the graduates produced by our education system, including your institute, can't find space. Same thing with the supply of money. Is our money supply working in a proper supply chain? What is the price? The price of money is interest rates. When interest rates go up, go down, are we asking, is that supply chain working efficiently? If there are inefficiencies, how can we fix it? Are we trying to educate the people who are responsible for managing this supply chain of societal goods and services about the importance of supply chain management? If we don't try to educate them, we will not be able to, however much we speak about this, we will not be able to ensure that our supply chain works towards creating a good ecosystem, a sustainable economy. Now, the chairman of the previous session rightly said, very rightly said, for a supply chain to work, there should be three things, he said. He said there should be strategy, there should be governance, there should be monitoring system. Do we have these three key components in the supply chain of our societal goods and services? If we don't have, what are we doing to create that? We are not doing anything. So that is what we need to do. And then there was a question from the floor. A lady got up and asked, what can the industry do to assist, or how can the industry assist universities to create value in the supply chain through the graduates they produce? I also have the same question. The way the industry can assist the universities is by asking universities to produce graduates who can speak for the right thing, who can stand up for the right thing. Because societal goods and services, supply chain management needs people who can speak up for the right thing, who can stand up for the right thing. That is very important for us to understand. If we do not have that, then our entire supply chain collapses, as what is happening here. That is why we are discussing how to reshape the future of Sri Lanka. Now, when our professionals leave the country, looking for job opportunities because our economy cannot give them job opportunities, they go to a country invariably that is managing the supply chain of societal goods and services well. You go to Australia, people try to go to UK, people try to go to Canada, they try to go to USA. All these countries manage their societal goods supply chain better than we do. That is why we are going there. Otherwise, we wouldn't try to go there. So, my question is, why we are not making a contribution to improve the supply chain of the goods, societal goods and services of this country, and going to a country that is already managing it? So what should be our contribution? Our duty should be to leave the country, go to another country and enjoy the fruits of better management of supply chain in those countries, or make a contribution to improve the management of supply chain of goods and services of this country. In my opinion, first we should try to make a contribution. If we fail, yes, we give up. But we should try. If we don't try, then we have failed in our duty. That is the point I want to stress. And in that, we need to make sure that we always focus on this 80-20 rule. All this while, even in our companies, I am not an exception, I am the rule. Even in our companies, we focus on managing 20% of the supply chain relating to our company. 20% of supply chain is the commercial goods and services. 80% lies outside as societal goods and services. So without trying to manage this 80%, we spend 80% of our time trying to manage this 20%. But trying to manage this 20% will not yield results. If we don't try to manage that 80%, it guarantees failure. And it has already guaranteed us failure. And we are seeing it. It's staring in our face. So at least now, I am happy that your institute has come forward to create this discussion, that we need to reshape the future of Sri Lanka through supply chain management. Through supply chain management, you can reshape the future of Sri Lanka. Don't give up. Thank you.